1L22150 GE2 Series. Instruction Manual. Endless rotation. Function. Read and follow these instructions and all safety blocks carefully. Have only trained and qualified persons install, operate, or service this unit. Give this manual to the operator. For help, call your distributor. -1-. Thank you for using the Denal Mega Series arc welding robot. Please be sure to read the instruction manuals listed below, including this manual and the instruction manuals provided with the equipment, and use all the products correctly. In particular, please be sure to read Chapter 1 Safety Precautions in the Quick Start Instruction Manual before starting to use the products in order to ensure your safety and the safety of others. Store the instruction manual in a safe place for future reference. Instruction manuals related to the manipulator/per-hour/S series and the Robot Control Unit FD11 are as follows. Standard manuals. Instruction manual type instruction. Manual no. Main contents. Quick Start 1L21700 A point on safety, transportation and installation, turning the power on/off and manual operation, etc. Setup. 1L21700B. Safety precautions. Installing and connecting method. Starting up. Periodical inspection. Solution at the time of failure. Controller maintenance 1L21700K specifications of controller, explanation of each parts, and maintenance, parts list, etc. Manipulator NB4/NB6/NB15/NV6/NV20/NH51L11130. A specifications or maintenance of manipulator, parts, list, etc. Manipulator NS31L11446. A specifications or maintenance of manipulator, parts, list, etc. Manipulator on V51L11312. A specifications or maintenance of manipulator, parts, list, etc. Manipulator on V166/NV210 1L11306. A specifications or maintenance of manipulator, parts, list, etc. Basic operations. 1L21700C. Explanation of manual operation, teaching, automatic operation, file utilities, backing up data, basic operations of arc/spot welding application, etc. External input/output 1L21700H. Interfacing method with external control device, list of I/O signals and start/halt the automatic operation, etc. Software PLC 1L21700J. Create program, input/output relay lists, list of command words, etc. Control and maintenance function 1L21700L. Edit logging, user check, troubleshooting, etc. Application manuals. Instruction manual type instruction. Manual no. Main contents. Application manual arc welding 1L21700F. Basic settings. Functions for arc welding. Teaching. Technique, etc. Application manual spot welding 1L21700E. Basic settings. Functions for arc welding. Teaching. Technique, etc. Instruction manuals are available other than the above for each optional function that you have purchased. Notes 1. Specifications and information contained in these manuals are subject to change at any time without notice. 2. The screen display of a teach pendant shown in the manual are described as examples, which may be different from the actual ones. 3. Although we cautiously compiled this standard specification to eliminate as much error as possible, we do not take any responsibility for damages resulting from neither direct nor indirect errors. 4. The manual is a part of robot products. When transferring or selling off a robot, be sure to append the manual. 5. No part of this manual may be reproduced without permission. 6. Prohibited altering or remodeling. Do not alter or remodel our products. You may get injured or have your equipment damaged because of fire, failure or malfunction caused by altering or remodeling the product. The warranty does not cover any altered or remodeled products. Be sure to read instruction manuals before use. -2. Notes on safety. The instructions that you are required to obey in order to prevent injury or physical damage to the operator or other nearby persons are classified and explained as shown below in the provided instruction manuals, including this manual. Danger. Cases in which death or serious injury are assured if handled incorrectly, and which avoidance of such dangers is also considered extremely difficult. Warning. Cases in which death or serious injury can be expected if handled incorrectly. Caution. Cases in which injury or physical damage can be expected if handled incorrectly. The following symbols are also used for important checkpoints. Important. A particularly important checkpoint is shown. Info. Useful information is shown. Point info for deeper understanding for the main text is shown. Note that even the matters which are described as caution can result in serious accident depending on the conditions. Be sure to keep the safety notes since they describe very important matters. The meanings of serious injury, minor injury, and damage described above are as follows. Serious injury. Injury which has the after effect by loss of eyesight, an injury, the burn high/low temperature, an electric shock, fracture, poisoning, etc., and that which requires hospitalization and long-term treatment as an outpatient. Minor injury which does not require either hospitalization or long-term treatment as an outpatient, a burn high temperature, low temperature, and an electric shock. Damage direct and indirect damage in connection with damage of property and equipment. Notice table of contents. Table of contents. 1. Outline. 1. 1.1 Position control. 1.2 Speed control. 1.3 Change control. 1. 2. Setup. 2. 2.1 Setting up the optional software. 2.2 Enabling endless rotation function. 2.3 Encoder reset for the endless axis. 4.2.4 Setup of machine constants of position control type endless axis. 4.2.5 Setup of machine constants for speed control endless axis. 5.2.6 Setup of machine constants for change control endless axis. 5.2.7 Setting the home position. 5.3 Teaching and playback. 7.3.1 Manual operation. 7.3.2 Teaching for position control. 7.3.3 Motion for check go/back and playback position control. 7.3.4 Editing the angle of the endless axis on the screen editor position control. 8.3.5 Manual operation. 9.3.6 Teaching for speed control. 9.3.7 Motion for the check go/back and the playback speed control. 10.3.8 Editing the velocity of the endless axis on the screen editor speed control. 10.3.9 Change endless control FN 373. 11.3.10 Teaching example. 12.3.11 Shortcut change endless control R506. 13.3.12 Confirming the present control method. 13.4 Error code list. 14.1 Table of contents. 2. Note 1. Outline. 1. Outline. The endless axis is an axis which can rotate unlimitedly towards the same direction, and there exist 3 types of control, like the following. Position control move the axis towards a designated position angle. Speed control rotate the axis at designated speed. Change control it is possible to switch position control and speed control for one endless axis. Caution. In case that the endless axis is position control or change control, when performing the restore operation of backup files or copy operation of constant files, the following pop-up window is displayed, which asks whether to maintain the endless rotation data. Select no if the system configuration before and after the restoration copy is different. Then, reset the encoder of the endless axis and execute the encoder correction operation. 2.3 Encoder reset for the endless axis. 1.1 Position control. This is a control method in which the control switchable type endless axis is controlled based on position control. The axis will move to the position recorded in the movement command along the shortest way, recorded position, shortest way start position. 1.2 Speed control. This is a control method in which the control switchable type endless axis is controlled based on speed control. The axis will not follow the position recorded in the movement command and rotate by following the rotational speed designated via FN 309 set velo function. Designated velocity. 1.3 Change control. It is possible to switch the control method position control and speed control for one endless axis. 2. Setup. 2. Setup. 2.1 Setting up the optional software. The endless rotation function is optional software. The optional software was already set up at the shipment from the factory or installation stage, so no further steps are necessary by customer. Point. The setup operation depends on the type of operational mode already configured. Operational mode 2.2, 2.6 have been set up at the factory shipment. Operational modes set up 2.2 and later. The current operating mode can be checked on the system environment screen, displayed with shortcut code 286 inches. For details, see Basic Operations Chapter 1 Introduction in the Instruction Manual. 2.2 Enabling endless rotation function. After setting the optional software, set the control method and the reduction ratio of the target axis e.g. positioner for the endless control. To set the function, the operator must have the qualifications level of specialist. 1 Open constant setting 3 Machine constants 23 Endless rotation menu. A screen like the following will be displayed. 2 Select the target axis for the endless control and set position, speed or change for the item of control method, and then press enter. Point. The speed and the change can be set only for a one-axis configuration mechanism. For a mechanism that has 2 or more axes cannot use this setting. 2. Setup. 3. In case of position and change, move the cursor to reduction ratio and set the reduction ratio of endless axis. In case of speed, the ratio cannot be set. Input a numerator and a denominator, respectively by an integral number, of the total reduction ratio from the motor axis to the mechanism axis. Important. Now that checking the specifications of reduction device. Exactly input a numerator and a denominator of the total reduction ratio with an integral number, respectively. If the setting of total reduction ratio disagrees with the specifications of reduction device, the position deviation occurs. 4. Lastly, press F12 complete key to save the setting to the internal memory. 2. Setup. 4. 2.3 Encoder reset for the endless axis. In case that endless axis is position control or change control, after resetting the encoder of the endless axis, be sure to perform the encoder correction for the endless axis at the reference position. Perform the encoder correction by position record operation. If inputting the encoder correction values that are set at shipment by numerical values in the menu of constant setting 3 machine constants for encoder correction, data input or not correcting the encoder offset, positional deviation may occur in the endless axis. With the endless axis, the motor angle in the reference position does not always come to the same position. Therefore, positional deviation may occur if just using the encoder correction values at shipment. Important. With the endless axis, the position information is stored in the controller memory because the motor angle at the reference position does not become the same always. If the restoring operation for the data that was saved at the timing of power failure detection is failed or the endless axis rotates while the controller primary power is off, a positional deviation between the stored position information in the internal memory of the controller and the actual position information occurs, and the absolute position of the endless axis will be shifted. In a case like that, reset the endless axis encoder and execute encoder correction at the reference position to initialize the position information. If positional deviation occurs, the endless axis cannot be operated normally until the initialization for the position information with this method is finished. Point. If the control method of a change type endless axis is set to speed, it becomes difficult to move the axis to a desired position precisely when operating the axis in joint operation because the axis rotates based on speed control. To move the axis position precisely, switch the control method to position in advance by using a shortcut code R506 change endless control. 2.4 Setup of machine constants of position control type endless axis. In case of position control, following machine constants should be set in constant setting 3 machine constants. Operator should have qualifications of expert or more. Table 2.1 Setup of machine constants of endless rotation axis position control. Menu description. Axis constants it enables setting encoder angle of 0 degree. Encoder correction it is to set up compensation value for encoder which is mounted on the motor to detect the axis angles. Shift limit it is to set up the upper limit which is followed when moving shift. Motor and encoder it is to set up electric specifications of motor and encoder, such as the rated current or capacity of decomposing pulses for angle detection. Servo speed loop it is to set up parameter groups of servo speed loops / current loops. Servo position loop it is to set up parameter groups of instruction values and servo position loops. Servo error it is error detecting level which is to be provided by servo such as overcurrent or excess rotation. Manipulator it is to set up mechanical parameters of mechanism covered by the control. 2. Setup. 5. 2.5 Setup of machine constants for speed control endless axis. In case of speed control, following machine constants should be set in constant setting 3 machine constants. Operator should have qualifications of expert or more. Table 2.2 Setup of machine constants of endless rotation axis speed control. Menu description. Motor and encoder it is to set up electric specifications of motor and encoder, such as the rated current or capacity of decomposing pulses for angle detection. Servo speed loop it is to set up parameter groups of servo speed loops / current loops. Servo position loop it is to set up parameter groups of instruction values and servo position loops. Servo error it is error detecting level which is to be provided by servo such as overcurrent or excess rotation. Manipulator it is to set up mechanical parameters of mechanism covered by the control. 2.6 Setup of machine constants for change control endless axis. When using change control, refer to 2.4 Setup of machine constants of position control type endless axis. Note, some parameters are not used in the speed control. 2.7 Setting the home position. If O mechanism in the home position screen is set to inclusive for an endless axis, please pay attention to the following points. Position control the axis is regarded to be in the defined home position only when the axis position is in the designated angle range. Speed control the axis is regarded to be in the home position always no matter where the current position angle is. 2. Setup. 6. Important. When making a home position setting for the change control type endless axis, please make the setting so that the home position range, reference angle plus minus margin, does not exceed the angle of 180 deg or minus 180 deg. If the setting is made like that, the home position signal is not outputted correctly if the current position data exceeds the borderline of 180 deg or minus 180 deg. Example, home position 170, deg plus minus 30, deg 140, deg 180, deg minus 180, deg minus 160 deg. 170 degrees, 0 degree, 140 degrees, minus 160 degrees, 180 degrees. 3. Teaching and playback. 7. 3. Teaching and playback. Teaching and playback of the position control type endless axis. 3.1 Manual operation. Select a position control type endless axis mechanism to operate manually with mechanism key, and then set the manual operation speed with manual speed key in 5 levels and press plus or minus key to move the axis. 3.2 Teaching for position control. The teaching procedure for position control is the same with normal teaching procedure, but the control switch type endless axis will make a shortcut motion from the current position to the target position if the control method is position control. Therefore, we recommend you to make a teaching program so that the rotation amount between the current position and the target position becomes smaller than plus minus 180 deg. Please be sure that the axis will rotate towards the closer direction always, even if the rotation amount between the current position and the target position is larger than plus minus 180 deg. Point. If the control method for an endless control switch type axis is set to speed, it becomes difficult to move the axis to a desired position precisely when operating the axis in joint operation because the axis rotates based on speed control. To move the axis position precisely, switch the control method to position in advance by using a shortcut code R506 change endless control. 3.3 Motion for check go / back and playback position control. In case of check go / back and playback, all endless axes will rotate towards the direction of 180 deg or smaller always. Therefore, for example, if the program is made by rotating the endless axis with 200 deg, the axis will rotate towards the opposite direction and rotate with 160 deg in case of check go / back and playback. 200 degrees, 0 degree, 160 degrees, 0 degree. Teaching check go / back and playback. Fig. 3.1 Endless axis motion 1. Current mechanism. Manual operation. Speed 3. Teaching and playback. 8. If the teaching program is made by rotating the endless axis with 400 deg, the axis will rotate only 40 deg, 400 degrees, 0 degree, 40 degrees, 0 degree. Teaching check go / back and playback. Fig. 3.2 Endless axis motion 2. 3.4 Editing the angle of the endless axis on the screen editor position control. The recorded position for the endless axis can be edited in the same way with normal axis in the screen edit function. However, the axis value range is plus minus 180 deg always. It is not possible to record a position outside this range. 3. Teaching and playback. 9. Teaching and playback speed control. 3.5 Manual operation. Select a velocity control type endless axis mechanism to operate manually with mechanism key, and then set the manual operation speed with manual speed key in 5 levels and press plus or minus key to move the axis. The axis will rotate regarding the value of manual max. SPD in constant setting 3 Machine constants 13 Servo position loop screen. 3.6 Teaching for speed control. When the control method type is speed, the endless axis does not require recorded position, and the recorded position data in the move command does not affect the endless axis motion. When the control method type is speed, the endless axis is rotated by designating the rotation speed velocity for the output side of the reduction gear via FN309 set velocity function. This function is to be recorded at the beginning of the area to start the rotation point. If this FN309 set velo function is executed when the control method for the endless control switch type axis is position, an error is detected. If it is necessary to operate the endless axis with speed control, do not forget to change the control method to speed via FN373ch endless in advance of using this function. Command name description. Set velo set velocity. First parameter. Data description and setting range. Mechanism number. This specifies the mechanism number of the endless axis. 1 to 9. Second parameter. Data description and setting range. Velocity RPM. This specifies the command velocity of the rotation. If this value is minus, the rotation direction is reversed. Note the maximum velocity differs from the setting of the controller. When the function is executed, the axis will accelerate according to the settings of maximum speed and the acceleration time. While executing a move command, a timer function, or an I-signal waiting function, the axis will keep the designated rotation number does not stop. After that, if the velocity is designated again via the FN309 function, the velocity will change to the designated value. By executing the program end or the step 0, the velocity is set to 0 automatically. If it is necessary to stop the rotation in the halfway on the program, please set 0 inches as the second parameter of FN309 function velocity. Current mechanism. Manual operation. Speed 3. Teaching and playback. 10. Parameter setup, maximum speed in the output side of reduction gear rad/sec accelerating time, a time period from 0 speed until reaching the maximum speed sec decelerating time. It is not used. It is done by setting accelerating time, pulse constants, number of encoder pulse at the output side of reduction gear bit/rad, level of decomposing pulses, number of pulses per rotation of encoder bit/rotation. The maximum speed of motor in its output side input side of reduction motor RPM reference, maximum speed rad/sec asterisk pulse constants bit/rad/ level of decomposing pulses bit/rotation asterisk 60 sec RPM. 3.7 motion for the check go/back and the playback speed control. Basically, the endless axis will rotate using the designated velocity in the FN309 set velocity. But if the velocity that is faster than the maximum speed for the manual operation is designated, the actual velocity is limited by the maximum speed for the manual operation. When playing back the work program, the endless axis will rotate using the designated velocity in the FN309 set velocity, but please be sure that the rotation velocity is not affected by the playback speed override setting. The values displayed in the axis monitor of endless axis with speed specification are as follows. Display of axis monitor of endless axis with speed specification instruction value displaying instruction, speed motor side RPM in the hexadecimal system. Present value displaying encoder data angle length, displaying instruction speed motor side RPM in the decimal system. 3.8 Editing the velocity of the endless axis on the screen editor speed control. The command velocity for the endless axis under the velocity control can be modified on the screen edit function. Please edit the second parameter of the FN309 set velocity, time. Set velo to 1000, set velo 2500. Machine constant acceleration time, 1000 RPM, 500 RPM. Move command set velo to 0 timer I waiting, or end function. Machine constant deceleration time, machine constant deceleration time 3, teaching and playback, 11. Switching the endless axis control method, position and speed. When using change control setting for endless axis, it is possible to switch position and speed. For each control type of position and the speed, refer to the previous pages. 3.9 Change endless control FN373. The control method for a control switch type endless axis can be changed by this function. Please record this function at the beginning step of the area where the control method is to be switched. When executing check go operation, this function is executed or not executed, according to the setting of check with function in the one-teach/playback condition in the service utilities. This function is executed in case of enabled, in case of check back. This function is not executed in spite of the setting of check with function. Important. When the control method is switched, the present control method and the designated control method is different. The robot will stop temporarily and take a positioning motion when executing the function. If the control method is not changed, the present control method and the designated control method is the same. The robot will not take a positioning motion and make a shortcut motion instead even if this function is executed. Command name description endless change endless control. First parameter, data description, setting range, mechanism number. This specifies the mechanism number of a control switch type, endless axis, 1 to 9. Second parameter, data description, setting range, control. The control method is specified. 0, position control 1, velocity speed control, point. In case where the control switch type endless axis is used with multi-unit configuration, the status of the control method is managed in the respective unit individually. In short, even if the control method is switched in the unit 1, the control method in the unit 2 is not switched. In the same way, even if the control method is switched in the unit 2, the control method in the unit 1 is not switched. Therefore, the control method for the control switch type endless axis must be switched in the program of the unit in which the axis is to be used. When using call far function with a multi-unit configuration, the control method for the control switch type endless axis must be switched to position in advance in the unit in which the call far function is executed, and, when returning from the called program, after executing a call far function, the control method for the control switch type endless axis must be switched to position in advance before returning to the original program from the called program. If a call far function is executed or returned from the called program is executed while the control method is speed, an error is detected. When disconnecting the sub-mechanism that is set as a control switch type endless axis using mechanism change function, it is necessary to change the control method of the axis to position in advance. If the disconnection of the sub-mechanism is executed while the control method is speed, an error is detected and the disconnection of the sub-mechanism is not executed. 3. Teaching and playback. 12. 3.10 Teaching example. FN373-1 Change endless control. Move. FN309 1000 Set velocity. Move. FN309 -1500 Set velocity. Move. FN30920 set velocity. Move. FN37320 change endless control. Move. 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 FN37321 change endless control. Move. End. Rotation stop velocity is 0 rpm. Forward rotation at 1000 rpm. Rotation stop velocity is 0 rpm. Rotation stop velocity is 0 rpm. Reverse rotation at 1500 rpm. The endless axis will move to the recorded position angle by going along the shortest route. Velocity control. Position control. Velocity control. Note, speed control is continued for the next cycle also. If mechanism 2 is endless axis change control. 3. Teaching and playback. 13. 3.11 shortcut change endless control R506. This shortcut can switch the control method for an endless axis manually. This can be executed only in the teach mode. When this shortcut code is inputted in the playback mode, an error is detected. Shortcut description R506 change endless control. First parameter, data description, setting range. Mechanism number. This specifies the mechanism number of a control switch type, endless axis, 1 to 9. Second parameter, data description, setting range, control. The control method is specified. 0. Position control 1. Velocity speed control. 3.12 confirming the present control method. The present control method for the control switch type endless axis can be confirmed with the graphical icon on the screen. Note, the following screenshots show the examples in case the mechanism number 2 is a control switch type endless axis. Position control. Speed control 4. Error code list. 14. 4. Error code list. Number 4905 message playback was started in the state that the basic posture of any axis is not set up. Causes sense the data when power failure did not be saved correctly. The position data of endless rotation axis has not been resumed to the data before power failure. Countermeasure. Please perform the encoder correction with position record method to the axis in which abnormalities have generated. How to release error reset. Number 0020 message abnormal velocity command. Modify abnormal axis motion. Causes abnormal velocity command data is calculated. Countermeasure. Modify abnormal axis motion to be minimized. Contact our service department in case axis motion is not so big. How to release after removal of failure. Please carry out failure reset. Number 0027 message encoder data change after stop. Causes this failure occurs when the encoder data continues to change after the command. Position is stops changing, i.e. manipulator should not be moving. Countermeasure. 1. Please check whether the connectors CNEC1/CNEC2/CN78E on the servo board M351L21700x0 are correctly connected, and check the damages on them. 2. Please check whether CNR4/CN2 is correctly connected. 3. Please check the power supply voltage of the encoder. 4. Please check that the payload is within the nominal rating. 5. Please check if the manipulator interferes with something or not. If this error occurs when the robot stops. 6. Please replace the drive unit. 7. Please replace the power supply unit. 8. Please replace the power supply unit. 9. Please replace the motor or the encoder. 10. Please check the wiring in the robot, manipulator or the control cable's wire harness by referring to manipulator manual. How to release after removal of failure. Please carry out failure reset. Important. If the error described here cannot be released, the position information of the endless axis and the actual position may not be the same. To initialize the position information, perform the encoder reset and the encoder correction for the endless axis. 2.3 Encoder reset for the endless axis. Number 2938 message. The change in an endless control cannot be executed. Causes because the endless control method is not set to change. The specified mechanism cannot be executed. Countermeasure. 1. Please confirm the endless control method. 2. Please confirm the mechanism number. How to release after removal of failure. Please carry out failure reset. Number 2939 message. The function cannot be used in velocity control. Causes the function was attempted that is not allowable while change type endless axis is controlled by velocity control. Countermeasure. Please execute the function after change control type of change type endless axis to position control. How to release after removal of failure. Please carry out failure reset.